Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today I am going to share with you the past year paper essays, so that you will get a clear idea that what kind of essays will be there in your exams, and you will also it is a practice of your exam basically. So before writing any essay, what points you have to keep in your mind? You have to analyze the prompt of essay, like what is the prompt directly asking you and what is the prompt indirectly asking you. And the second thing is create a thesis statement, a hook line that will catch the attention of the reader at the start. If the start line will be like so catchy and attractive, then it will attract the reader. Okay, so the third thing is to make an outline. Use an outline to plan out your essay paper before writing it. Okay, begin with the body, not with the introduction. Begin each paragraph with a topic sentence. Like for every paragraph you must have a topic in your mind, that what this paragraph will be about. And use credible resources, like use examples, use idioms and quotations, like okay? And then at last there will be a conclusion of your essay. So we know that essay is a thing that composed of many paragraphs, and each paragraph there must be a specific topic. For example, a paragraph of advantages of something, and then the disadvantages of something, then its impact on society, a separate paragraph for it, and at the last there is a conclusion paragraph. So let's begin. I will read read the essays from the last year paper, so you will get an idea that what to write in the paragraph. Okay, so let's begin. Okay ji, the paragraph number 1 is Islam and science. The debate over Islam and science covers a wide range of issues and extends from the political leaders and experts to the public at large, revealing the ever-past tensions between the theory and practice. This debate takes place at two levels: practical and intellectual. At the practical level, the challenge is keeping up with the technological civilization of our age and bridging the gap between the advanced societies of West and Muslim countries. From Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the founder of modern Turkish Republic, to the Islamic Republic of Iran and poor and rich countries of Arab. Empowering nations through science and technology is a top priority for all government in the Muslim world, even though not all succeed in this goal. But it is not only government and bureaucrats who think this way. The public at large also fascinated by the power and magic of science and technology, which has penetrated all aspects of our lives. But by necessity, the vast majority of Muslims use science and technology in way indistinguishable from the rest of the world. With the practical applications of science shadow everything else, the intellectual claims surrounding it raise serious questions. As a systematic way of studying nature, science and operates within a framework of philosophical assumptions that overlap with technology and philosophy. Religious, cosmological and metaphysical ideas provide a context of justification for the scientific study of the order of nature. These ideas and presuppositions may not always be explicitly articulated, but they underlie the conceptual foundations of all scientific tradition from the classical to modern period. Contrary to the claim of positivists and scientific purists, scientific inquiry is shaped by socio-historical circumstances and preferences. The Quran, Islam's sacred text, contains an elaborate cosmology, makes regular references to natural phenomena, and implores the readers to ponder the world of nature as God's signs, ayatullah. It is quite telling that a verse of Quran is also called ayah, i.e. sign. It deals with issues that are also studied by natural science: creation, life, heavens and earth, animals, causality, order in nature, the argument from designs, and the relationship between the nature and human orders. The Quran presents natural phenomena as both the foundations of the physical order in which we live and marvelous work of the God as the great artisan. By giving nature a religious meaning and a metaphysical function within the great chain of being, it offers a religious view of the universe, which in turn lays the foundation of an Islamic philosophy of science. But this is not simply a religious philosophy superimposed upon a material entity, rather it is an integrated and holistic. So ये था first topic. Now moving towards the blessing and evils of money. Paisa, neki aur badi. Money is a funny thing. Some people view it as a measure of their self-worth, while others view money as a necessary evil. For some people, money is a blessing, while for others it's a curse. The key is to keep a healthy view of money. Is money a blessing or a curse for you? Consider the following. Now you can see there are bullet points that is making this essay interesting. Okay, so it's a good idea to use bullet points in your essays, and do use some quotations in your essay and examples in your essay, because it make your essay so attractive, and especially the hook line is very important. So keep money in perspective. Some folks spend so much time worrying about money that parting with it diminishes the joy of making any purchase or appreciating the moment. Avoid viewing shopping as a sport. Don't treat shopping as a competitive where getting an amazing deal gives you more pleasure than owning the merchandise. Be conscious of your spending habits. Focus the bulk of your purchases on what you need rather than what you want. Spend money on priorities. Money is worth something only if you spend it. Therefore, spend it on things that are most important to you. Make sure your decisions add up. Think big picture. If you are moving heaven and earth to save a few pennies a year, but you are making yourself a nervous wreck, get a life. Saving can be costly. Cheapskates can damage their relationships with others by their behavior, determining the impact that your decisions have on those around you. Manage your money. Earning money is only a start. Grow your money by saving and investing it properly, so that you make money while you sleep. Remember, you can't cut your way to wealth. Don't spend what you don't have. As Will Rogers said, too many people spend money they haven't earned to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like. Money should be a mean to support yourself or family. It should never become the cornerstone of your life or define you as a person. Unfortunately, some people let money consume them and take on a role larger than life. That's neither sensible nor healthy. Frugality is smart. It compels you to live within your means, make informed and thoughtful decisions, appreciate all the things that money can't buy, and best of all, frugality buys you a good night's sleep. As the saying goes, if you want to be richer, make more money or need less. Is money a blessing or a curse for you? So you can see in this paragraph is just perfect, and it have a conclusion, it have bullet points, it have quotations, and you can also add some examples in your paragraph to make them more interesting. So moving towards the next paragraph, that is media education. Media literacy deals with the culture and lifestyle of student. Now the first line is explaining what media is. So do explain your topic in the first 3 to 4 lines. Okay. Media literacy deals with the culture and lifestyle of students. They enjoy thinking and talking about what is going on in the media. For example, for teachers, it's an opportunity to have students examine how they are influenced and being influenced by popular culture. Media education is the process through which individuals becomes media literate, able to critically understand the nature, techniques, and impacts of media messages and production. Media education acknowledges and builds on the positive, creative, and playable dimensions of popular culture. It incorporates production of media ethics and critical thinking, that decoding, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating media to help us navigate through an increasingly complex media landscape. The landscape includes not only traditional and digital media but also popular culture texts such as toys, fads, fashion, shopping malls, and theme parks. Media education encourages an approach that is always probing, posing questions such as who is the audience of media production and why? From whose perspective is the story being told? How do the unique elements and codes of a specific genre affect what we see, hear, or read? How might different audiences interpret the same media production? In the digital age, the principles of media education are the same as they have always been, but the existence of cyberspace is adding new and challenging questions. How, for instance, does technology affect how we relate to others? Is new technology enriching or undermining culture, learning, and a sense of community? What role do ownership, control, and access play? What are the challenges in regulating a globe borderless medium like the internet? Media education isn't about having the right answer, rather it's about asking the right questions. Because media issues are complex and often contradictory and controversial. The educator's role isn't to impart knowledge but to facilitate the process of inquiry and dialogue. This of the teacher as a facilitator and co-learner in a student-centered learning process is not only the model for media education, it has also become an accepted new critical pedagogy. Today, the chief challenge are to locate and evaluate the right information for one's needs to synthesize what one finds into useful knowledge or communications. Media education with techniques of critical thinking, creative communications, and computer, visual, and oral literacy skills at its core is a key part of our 21st century approaching to learning. Role of teachers to make students responsible. Teachers play vital roles in the lives of students in their classroom. Teachers are the best known for the role of educating the students that are placed in their care. Beyond that, teachers serves many other roles in the classroom. Teachers set the tone of their classrooms, build a warm environment, mentor and nurture students, becomes more models, and listen and look for signs of trouble. The most common role a teacher plays in the classroom is to teach knowledge to the children. Teachers are given a curriculum they must follow that meets the stated guidelines. This curriculum is followed by the teacher so that throughout the year all pertinent knowledge is dispensed to the students. Teachers teach in many ways, including lectures, small group activities, and hands-on learning activities. Teachers also play an important role in the classroom when it comes to the environment. Students often mimic a teacher's actions. If a teacher prepares a warm, happy environment, students are more likely to be happy. An environment set by the teacher can either be positive or negative. If the student sense the teacher is angry, students may react negatively to that, and therefore learning can be impaired. Teachers are responsible for the social behavior in their classroom. The behavior is primarily a reflection of teacher's actions and the environment she set. Teachers typically do not think of themselves as a role models, however, inadvertently they are. Students spend a great deal of time with their teacher, and therefore a teacher becomes a role model to them. This can be a positive or negative depending upon the teacher. Teachers are there not only to teach the children but also to love and care for them. Teachers are typically highly respected by people in the community and therefore become a role model to the student and parents. Mentoring is a natural role taken on the teachers, whether it is intentional or not. This again can have a positive or negative effect on children. Mentoring is a way a teacher encourages the student to survive, to be the best they can. This also includes encouraging students to enjoy learning. Part of mentoring consists of listening to students. By taking time to listen to what students say, teachers impart to students a sense of ownership in the classroom that help build their confidence and help them want to be successful. So you can see that this paragraph is totally about role model, teacher as a role model, and this paragraph is totally about mentoring. Okay, now move toward the next one. Another role played by the teacher is an protector role. Teacher can taught to look signs for students of trouble in the students. When students behavior change or physical signs of abuse are noticed, teachers are required to look into the problem. Teachers must follow faculty procedures when it comes to following up on all signs of trouble. So that's it. Okay, moves towards the next topic. It is importance of independence, azadi ki ahmiyat. This is the big choice we make that set our direction. It is the smallest choice we make that get us to the destination. Now you can see that this paragraph is started with the quote, and it is also called the hook line, you can call. So I mean, it is a very good idea to catch the attention of the reader by providing the quotation or the attractive hook line at the start. Okay, this will have a great impact on your essay. Independence refers to breaking chains. Typically, by independence of a country, we understand a distinct group of people living in a specific region who are similar in terms of race, ethnicity, culture, or or any other significant factor binding them together that results in a coherent thinking, setting itself free from the governance of another entity which is fundamentally different from them. The ability to be independent is something that not everyone possesses. You need to be independent in order to survive in the world. Learning or support yourself is a fundamental for any success you ever hope to achieve. Independence is important for a country because it is the very reason of country's existence. A country or a nation would not exist or have a distinct identity if it were not independent at the first place. The idea of independence becomes prevalent in the mindset of a distinct group of people when the belief of transcendence as an individual nation becomes prominent, whether it is due to indignation or necessity of self-identification or any other cause for the matter. Concisely put, independence gives a nation the right to decide its own fate. Whether that fate will be a good one or a bad one depend on the vision of the leader who led the nation to liberation and then took on the rule of governing body. As they say, staying free is harder than becoming free. Another quotation and a good one. Okay, another sample. Role of education in the development of country. Education in every sense is one of the fundamental factors of development. No country can achieve sustainable economic development without sustained investment in human capital. Education enriches people's understanding of themselves and world. It improves the quality of their lives and leads to broad social benefits to individuals and society. Education raises people's productivity and creativity and promotes entrepreneurships and technological advances. In addition, it plays a very crucial role in securing economic and social progress and improving income distribution. Education is a vital investment for human and economic development and is influenced by the environment within which it exists. Changes in technology, labor market pattern, and general global environment all require policy responses. Traditions, cultures, and faith all reflect upon the education system and at the time are also affected by them. The element of continuity and change remains perpetual, and it is up the society to determine its pace and direction. We are living in an inquiring and innovation-oriented society. The demand of 21st century is novelty, creativity, and integration of knowledge at global level, research, critical and analytical thoughts. Rapidly, social changes are creating uncertainty and complexity in the society. To prepare the children and youth to cope with the present situation, need to develop analytical and critical thinking skill and attitude that would make them more flexible and innovative to deal with uncertainty and crisis at national and global level. Curriculum plays a crucial role in national integration and harmony. The greatest need of the hour is to redesign curriculum, textbook, teaching methodology, and student literature. Formal and non-formal education systems, it has been demonstrated by the researcher that active learning, questioning and investigate the nature of topic, develop creativity and stimulate for learning. Culture values of the majority of Pakistani are derived from Islam. Since an education system reflects and strengthens social, culture, moral values, therefore Pakistan's education interventions have to be based on the core values of religious and faith. So educated peoples are aware of the socio-economic scenario of the country and can help in the progress of country. Education helps to decide whom to vote in order to make a difference in the economy of the country positively. It goes without saying that unless a person is educated, he or she cannot get a worthwhile job. Unemployment is a serious obstacle in the development and progress in the country's economic status. Single mothers who aren't educated cannot get a decent job to support their children, which is a necessity in their situations. This can help them in better upbringing of their children, thus helping them to become responsible citizens of the country. So guys, this is it. These are some messages that I want to share with you guys. So hope you will like them, and if you like our video, subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends. Allah Hafiz.